Hello history buffs, and welcome to the ultimate Canada versus USA history quiz. Get ready to test your knowledge as we journey through the fascinating, intertwined, and sometimes conflicting histories of these two great North American neighbors. We'll explore everything from their colonial roots to their modern milestones. Are you ready? Let's begin. Our first section takes us back to the very beginning, colonial beginnings. Question 1. Which European power originally laid significant claims to large parts of both the regions that would become Canada and the United States? Was it Great Britain, or was it France? Think about the early explorers and the vast territories they mapped. The correct answer is France. While Britain established the 13 colonies along the Atlantic coast, New France stretched from the St. Lawrence River, through the Great Lakes, and all the way down the Mississippi River Valley. Question 2. In what year did the United States declare its independence from Great Britain? This is a cornerstone date in American history. Was it 1776, 1783, or 1789? The answer is 1776, with the signing of the Declaration of Independence on July 4th. Question 3. Now for Canada. In what year did the Canadian Confederation occur? Officially creating the Dominion of Canada, was it 1841, 1867, or 1885? The correct year is 1867, on July 1st. The British North America Act united the provinces of Canada, Nova Scotia, and New Brunswick. Question 4. Back to the United States. Who served as the very first president of the United States after the Constitution was ratified? Was it Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, or George Washington? The answer, of course, is the celebrated General of the Continental Army, George Washington. Question 5. And who was Canada's first Prime Minister leading the country right after Confederation in 1867? Was it George Gideon Cartier, Alexander Mackenzie, or John A. Macdonald? The first Prime Minister was Sir John A. Macdonald, a key architect of Confederation itself. So, to recap this section, we've seen how both nations have roots in French and British colonialism, but took very different paths to nationhood. With the U.S. forging its independence through revolution in 1776 under George Washington, and Canada achieving a more gradual self-governance through Confederation in 1867, led by John A. Macdonald. Now, let's move into our next chapter, Conflict and Expansion. Question 6. The War of 1812 was a defining conflict. During this war, which forces were responsible for the burning of the White House in Washington, D.C.? Was it the French, or was it British forces, which included Canadian militia? The correct answer is the British. This event remains a dramatic moment in the shared history of the two countries. Question 7. In 1867, a massive northern territory was sold by Russia. Which country purchased the land that we now know as Alaska? Was it Canada or the United States? The United States made the purchase, in a deal famously known as Seward's Folly, though it proved to be an incredible bargain. Question 8. A famous photograph marks the completion of a monumental engineering project in Canada. What did the driving of the last spike in 1885 signify the completion of? Was it the Rideau Canal, or was it the Canadian Pacific Railway, a transcontinental railway? It marked the completion of the Canadian Pacific Railway, a steel ribbon that physically and symbolically united the country from coast to coast. Question 9. The imagery of cowboys, saloons, and vast, untamed frontiers is iconic. Which nation is most famously associated with the Wild West era of the late 19th century? Was it Canada, with its northwest mounted police, or the United States, with its westward expansion? The classic Wild West is an integral part of the American story. Question 10. What was the Underground Railroad? Was it a secret network of subway tunnels, or a network of secret routes and safe houses used by enslaved African Americans to escape to freedom in the Free States and Canada? The Underground Railroad was this vital network of abolitionists and allies offering a path to freedom. Let's recap this period. We've covered the dramatic conflict of the War of 1812, the strategic expansion of both nations with the Alaska Purchase and the Transcontinental Railway, and the powerful quests for freedom exemplified by the Wild West and the Underground Railroad. If you're finding this historical journey as fascinating as I am, take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the past. Your support helps us create more content just like this now. Let's fast forward to our third section, Modern Milestones. Question 11. In the 20th century space race, which country achieved the monumental feat of being the first to land a human on the moon in 1969? Was it the Soviet Union, Canada, or the United States? The United States achieved this milestone with the Apollo 11 mission. Question 12. For much of its history, Canada used a version of the British red ensign as its flag. In what year did Canada adopt its own distinctive national flag, the red and white maple leaf? Was it 1945, 1965, or 1982? The iconic maple leaf flag was adopted in 1965. Question 13. The Olympic Games are a showcase of global unity and competition. Which nation hosted the very first Winter Olympics held in North America? Was it Canada in Montreal, or the United States in Lake Placid? The United States hosted the Games in Lake Placid, New York, in 1932. Question 14. A symbol of freedom recognized around the world stands in New York Harbor. The Statue of Liberty was a gift to the United States from which country? Was it Great Britain, Spain, or France? Lady Liberty was a generous gift from the people of France. Question 15. While Canada became a country in 1867, its constitution remained a British Act of Parliament for over a century. In what year did Canada patriate its constitution, bringing it fully under Canadian control and adding the Charter of Rights and Freedoms? Was it 1967, 1982, or 1995? The Constitution was patriated in 1980 to under Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau. So, in this section, we've touched upon some major 20th century achievements: the U.S. moon landing, Canada's adoption of its own flag and constitution, the first North American Winter Olympics, and the story behind the Statue of Liberty. Finally, we arrive at our last section, focusing on cultural heritage. Question 16. One of these countries has two official languages at the federal level, English and French. Which country is officially bilingual? Is it the United States or Canada? Canada is the officially bilingual nation. A reflection of its history. Question 17. The beloved sport of basketball has a unique origin story. Where did it originate? Was it invented by an American in Canada or by a Canadian in the United States? It was invented by a Canadian, Dr. James Naismith, while he was working in Springfield, Massachusetts, in the USA, a true cross-border creation. Question 18. Which nation operates as a constitutional monarchy, with the British monarch as its head of state? Is it the United States, a republic, or Canada? Canada remains a constitutional monarchy and a member of the Commonwealth. Question 19. Let's talk flags again. The maple leaf versus the stars and stripes. Which of these two national flags, in its essential form, is older? The American Stars and Stripes is the older design, adopted in 1777, while the Canadian maple leaf was adopted much later, in 1965. Our final question. Number 20. Both countries celebrate a holiday called Thanksgiving. But do they celebrate it on the same date? Yes or no? The answer is no. Canadian Thanksgiving is on the second Monday in October, while American Thanksgiving is on the fourth Thursday in November. And that brings us to the end of our quiz. From shared colonial beginnings to distinct paths of governance, from conflict to cooperation, and from cultural similarities to unique traditions, the histories of Canada and the United States are deeply intertwined. Each nation has forged its own identity, while remaining neighbors, allies, and friends. How did you do on the quiz? Let us know your score in the comments below. We hope you enjoyed this journey through time and learned something new today. Thank you so much for joining us. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing for more historical explorations. We look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care.